Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 43, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is potentially the start of Spiderman shooty wrist things, which is very exciting. This is from Tufts University, and they discovered this almost by accident by washing some stuff up in some acetone and noticing this reaction. But if you dribble acetone and dopamine down dissolved silk, it reconstitutes the silk. Who'd have thought? So that's what they're doing here. They're obviously glooping some of the dissolved silk and then it's reconstituting and it's sticking to stuff. So it can then lift up those things up to 80 times the weight of the silk, and it can do that over 5 inches, which is 13 centimeters in new money. So exactly what you'll do with this, I don't really know, but if you want to become Spider-Man and you want to know how to do this, then probably chat to Tufts University. This is from the Max Sneaks event, which was a couple of weeks ago from Adobe, or last week I think it was. And they had a couple of features, and I'm going to feature 2 of them in this Dinosaw. This is first one called Remix, and it remixes designs, and it's the boring bit of artworking, quite frankly. So that's a great thing. This one is also part of Remix, which is style transfer of vector graphics. So if you like the look of this one, you can then apply it to that one, which is cool, but it's probably also dodging around people's kind of copyright and things like that. But this one, genuinely, if you work in media, if you do resizes of billboards and programmatic media and that sort of thing, then this is an absolute time saver. So really like that one. This is news from Chelsea Flower Show. If you don't know what Chelsea Flower Show is, it is a flower show in London, in Chelsea. And every year they have these amazing gardens. And this is Avanade and Microsoft partnering, and Avanade do cloud computing stuff with Microsoft. However, they have teamed up with Tom Massey and G. Ann, and they are going to create what they call an intelligent garden for next year. Kind of interested to see how this works out. So lots of sensors in the soil and on the trees and in the plants and in the water and that sort of thing. And you can then have a chat with the garden. You can ask it how it's feeling, does it need any help, you know, basically what's going on, and you can have a relationship with your garden. So in the future, you would open your curtains in the morning and have a chat to your lawn. Does it need any work doing today? How's it feeling? That sort of thing. So what would you actually talk to your garden about? That would be interesting. Runway, the text to video people, have announced Act One, and this is a expressive character performance generation tool. So it allows you to puppet a video. Traditionally, you would have used a CGI puppet, or you would have been an actual actor and you would have done the thing itself. But now it really allows all of that off screen, you know, the stuff, the green screen with the ping pong balls and all of that sort of stuff. It allows anybody to start with a video and a voice track and then apply it to an image. And that image is then animated as you see here. So you don't need to do all that CGI animation stuff. So really, really interesting. Yes, we've seen this before, but this is by far the most polished and also by far the most available one as well. So go and have a look at it. It is very impressive. Also impressive is this robot. This is the Engineai SE01 robot, and I'm only featuring this because it's the only robot I've seen in a long time that doesn't walk like it's pooed itself. So that's really interesting, and this is pretty much the only reason I'm featuring it. Now, if you do remember the Boston Dynamics Petman robot from about 12 years ago, yes, it had tethers and all that sort of stuff, but it walked pretty well. So something's gone on in the last 12 years that has allowed robots to walk like they poo themselves or need the toilet. So this is really interesting. I can see this on a catwalk, for instance, in the near future, or at least being possibly breakdancing with humans doing the whole robotic breakdancing thing. So there you go. Love that one. That's great for Halloween. A headless robot walking around your house. Interesting. The second thing from the sneaks from Adobe is Project Turntable, and this is, I wish I'd have had this when I was actively designing. So this takes 2D vectors, and it allows you to then turn those 2D vectors to understand the context of the 2D vector. It turns it into a 3D object and allows you to rotate it and then clips it back into 2D vectors, which is amazing. So again, this is something that if you are an illustrator, this will be an absolute time saver and it'll give you a huge amount of flexibility. So I love this feature, and I say I wish I had this when I was designing games and all those sort of good things, because this would have just made character rotates so much easier. Really interesting. And finally, we have a MobiPrint. Now, this is a 3D printer that is mobile. It scans your house for you. It scans the space at least. You tell it what object you want and where you want it, and it will go to that object or that space, and it will then print it. In this case, it's printing a cat bowl, because clearly you've gone to work, you forgot to put the cat bowl out, and, oh, well, yeah, obviously there's somebody at home already, don't worry about that. However, Really interesting. Again, not exactly sure what you're supposed to do with this, but there was this vision of the future where you would have nano surfaces where things would pop out and they would reorganize themselves, and pipes would pop out wherever they were needed, or chairs would come out of the floor. This is kind of the first step into that one. So a real vision of the future. If you're into 3D printing, you'll know how tough it is to try and get stuff to stick to surfaces. So not really sure about that. It's probably had a bit of a wipe before they printed that, but there you go. Very interesting either way. Hopefully it was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. And if it was, give it a share, give it a like, and I'll see you next week.